Hello everybody, it's great to be here today. It's interesting to do this in the silent part, right? You want to hear yourselves and it's not the usual microphone. But thank you for being here. We have an interesting topic. I'm super happy to be here with Sivakumar Selva Ganapathy, an expert on the topic. I think I'm supposed to show some slides, but I don't know if they're coming up. Otherwise I can talk you through this as well. But if we don't have them, we don't have them. That's fine. So what is really happening on the topic is that for the first time since about 2015, technology capabilities can do more than what businesses demand. Traditionally, we have operated in a world where business perspectives want to do a certain thing and technology would be only a compromise and could do less. And now we're in this phase where all of a sudden there's opportunity because technology can do more than we ever would have thought it could be done. There was a very interesting survey released for the Davos conference from the Wyman Group, which showed the uptake of artificial intelligence, generative AI by white-collar workers, which was in the 30s in late summer of 2023 and went into the high 50s, if not 60s, across all different industries in the end of 2023. In a short time frame of 3-4 months, white-collar workers have adopted significantly more generative AI than ever before. And the interesting question, of course, how does it affect us in all of that as a process? But I don't want to talk too much from that perspective then. We have Shiva here who knows the topic really well. We could be standing, right?
Yeah,
More energy with standing.
Sure.
So what brings you here, Shiva?
Yeah. Thanks, Holger. Good afternoon, one and all. It's always tricky after lunchtime to get your attention. So key thing for today for me to be here, Holger, is the theme of this event, right? Shaping the decade. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to be here to really witness this disruptive change. And that is really driven by artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and now it's about generative AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the new buzzword. We said it right away. I was happy in my analyst track session that for 8 minutes, I didn't mention generative AI. Right? We talked about other things, which is a peculiar thing.
Yeah.
There's some things which you have to be, I think, careful with and understand. And if you think there's already too much hype around AI, there's this what I call the scholar trap. And this means that the transformer algorithm, which is the backbone of generative AI right now, is really, really good at crunching documents. And that's what will make a great teacher, a great professor, a great scholar, knowing lots of things in these documents. And we look at generative AI and say, oh my God, what it can all do? We forget one important thing. All the important information in an enterprise is stored in transaction databases. And these transactions are not accessible for generative AI yet. So if you think the big thing has happened already, it hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen when somewhere, maybe this year, maybe in 2 years, somebody will find an algorithm which can combine the unstructured data of the document world, which it does amazingly well, with the transactional data, which is where everything important in enterprise is being stored. So when that happens, you need to be ready as an enterprise. You should have your data lake in place. You should understand enough about generative AI. But let's look at this. How do we start with this even, right? And you're doing a good starter from that.
Absolutely.
Shiva, tell us a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Holger. I think he really articulated about within an enterprise how the data is being stored, etc., still not exposed to generative AI. But let me take you through a little bit outside the enterprise and how we'll have to look at it, right? So we are in a world, I mean, luckily, fortunately, some of us or many of us have seen the evolution of client server, then to internet and web, cloud mobile, and then AI, ML, and then now generative AI, right? So if you see this evolution, there is always a skepticism at the beginning that, oh, are we going to lose many jobs? Or is it going to be a job displacement strategy or whatnot? Yes, for some time in some areas, but it presents a huge opportunity for us. For example, if you really look at software as a service, as a product, right? So there's a lot of value add can be done, which can be human elevated and human augmented, leveraging this AI. So we anchoring around a set of all ground principles is very important and govern around that. So that is where I feel that there's a huge opportunity. Not only now we are in the very early stage of AI, and then the kind of human intelligence and the capability which need to transform, we have a long way to go.
Right.
So from an outside the enterprise perspective, there's a lot more can be done. And we will go through domain by domain, maybe once, Holger, you talk about it. Then I can take some few examples of what opportunity presents in front of us.
That's perfect. We'll talk about this. And the interesting thing from Sivakumar was saying is that it's not the time to really be afraid of the technology right now. And there's a lot of fear in every transition, like you mentioned before that, but we're really only at the beginning right now. But what's important is that you prepare your enterprise and prepare yourself professionally for the time when this will be relevant, and don't approach this from a position of fear, but approach it from a position of knowledge, of capabilities, and of allowing your enterprise to do what is important with generative AI. There's no question about that. But let's talk about some use cases, right?
Yeah. So, for example, if you take these buildings, right? So really look at how do we make this building much more smarter and much more connected. So in the context of Internet of Things or whatnot, yes, we can have our controllers, with occupant experience being primary motive, how can we really make sure our energy and the chillers are optimized in the way they perform, so that our energy bill is not only optimized, but also make sure it is decarbonized and it's more greener and more sustainable. So this is one of the ways where we can actually deploy AI so that we can predict something what's going to happen and be more proactive than reactive, right? And from a skill set perspective, what's happening is we're really looking at, so we all are fortunate enough in the techie crowd to understand what AI, ML, generative AI is, but there's a larger crowd beyond this conference. We have to go through from ignorance to intelligence, right? So there's a lot of unlearning and relearning has to happen, and lot of reskilling has to be happening. So that is why it's a great opportunity for us to really shape our own destiny, shape our decade, and then really see how we can go ahead, not only train our engineers who are coders, developers, etc., but also we have to train the board of directors, because some of the mandates which is coming today, both globally and in India specifically, is, are you having a board member with a digital background? So what about roles like AI ethicist, right? So there is a lot of education needs to happen at a board level, at a CXO level, and at a community level where they really develop these products.
That's right.
And the models as well. So as we go along, I'll pick out a couple of other use cases, and then Holger, you can take it over from here.
That's a great point, that there's a lot of learning, of course, and the important thing is to approach this with an eagerness to learn about new technologies, like in every case, and not be afraid of the fears of it, because we will move into, in my view, into much more humane way of working. A lot of routine tasks, a lot of drudgery tasks, which have been documented over and over, where the digital artifacts are available for generative AI to help us with, will be making our work life better. It might be a moment of harshness to a certain point, because human beings, as we all are, we like our certain patterns, we like our routines, we like that we can do something even if it's the same thing all over again and again. That might go away. But that will ultimately not be an easy process for everybody, but will ultimately be a positive thing for pretty much everybody, because you can do more higher level, more higher value activities which make a difference for yourself in your personal career and your capability and skills, and make a difference for your employer, for your enterprise where you're working. But I mean, you're working with Johnson Controls, right? This is why the building analogy, obviously, right?
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. Buildings, there's not everybody here to make a building cooler or warmer. You have to automate that.
Yep.
But we will be in a part where the building will not be autonomous yet right away,
Yep.
but it will be human supervised.
Yep.
And that's the good part of the next 5 years at least. There will be always human supervision on that.
Yeah.
What are some other examples for that?
Yeah, I agree with you. One of the key statements what he made was, how do we really look at human in the loop, right? So that's going to be very key, and that's why we said it has to be anchored on the set of all principles and the vision that each one of the company operates. And we all, in several sessions we talked about several GPUs, several billion parameters, and large language models, small language models, or whatnot. If you take in the case of sustainability, we all understand all these models are energy guzzlers, right? So we all know AI and generative AI can assist sustainability, but we are equally responsible to ensure how sustainable ways are these models being built. So it's like a yin-yang, so AI for sustainability and sustainability for AI. If you take one example, there was a recent research done by Google along with American Airlines to really look at how the vapor trail of the aircraft is and understand where the decarbonization or carbonization is happening, and then come back with a model to suggest what are all the greener routes. Okay, so it was great, and some of the researchers from Hugging Face, they took those model and then they really analyzed how much of energy it is going to consume, and the results were alarming. It's available in the public domain. You can Google it or Gemini it now. So the kind of energy what it takes is an average American home, the kind of energy it utilizes can lit up an American home for 40 years. That's the kind of energy we are talking about, right? So while some of the repetitive tasks can be displaced or used AI, but there's always a human intelligence in place. I think most of you would agree, the last 10 or 15 years, India has always been in the doing mode, except a few thinkers. How do we do more with less? How do we do more at a low cost or whatnot? But this displacement is a shift, skill shift which is happening. It gives us an opportunity to really become thinkers and then really look at some of the models and products which we can build and the platforms where the world can consume. If you really look at the Gen AI 4 set of stacks, right? We have the apps, we have the tools, we have the models, and we have the infrastructure. And more startups and other companies, while they're focusing on the apps, I think when we, AI is going to replace with some, capacity of the developers or any of the employees, we can revitalize those energy into focusing on building some of the products in the rest of the area. So this is one such case which we can really talk about, how human can still leverage their intelligence, still leveraging AI, can still contribute to sustainability and much broader cause for the community.
Yeah, that's a very good important point, that the human will be there for the supervision. And what makes me optimistic in that topic is that humans are very, very good at figuring out if an AI result is not good at all. I don't want to use this anymore, this is a waste of time, I have to do more work.
Yeah.
This is okay-ish, but it's still too much work to fix it, or this is really changing my work. And you see this fundamentally if you look at where one of the areas where generative AI works really, really well is in the coding domain. There's lots of code out there. It doesn't work so well in the general coding domain, but works very specifically in a subdivision of that, which is IT ops and DevOps, where data has been moved, systems are being shut down, and that's all repetitive, where you can create scripts which are 90–95% there to run this, because it doesn't matter if an SAP to in Salesforce to work, the system runs at company A or runs company B, the script will be looking very, very much similar. So phenomenal quality on that part. Have any IT ops, DevOps people disappeared? No. But has their life gotten better and easier and the routine tasks been taken away from them? Definitely yes. But in the supervision, to look at a script, say to generative AI, the nice thing is the conversational user interface as well, and that will have an effect. I think we should talk about this in a moment, but let me finish this thought first. This will change the way how IT ops, DevOps scripts will be built, but it has not let any people being gone. And anyway, if you generate one of this and you work in the domain, you can right away see, that is ridiculous, that's not going to work. This is okay, but I have to edit so much stuff, I'm faster writing myself. Or this is so good, I have to do a couple of twists, do a couple of mistakes, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Any of these examples from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now, there was an interesting observation. One of the Microsoft leaders had talked about, hey, if you know English, you can write Python, and the next big coding language is going to be English, right? So as more and more we look at skilling and reskilling, etc., it's very important to stay focused on our core natural things like our English language, our core engineering subject, because the AI, generative AI, etc., now there are also weak AI, stronger AI, there are several terminologies floating around, so that will keep evolving. But that in combination with our core domain expertise, I think that combination will really turbocharge the way we transform today. So that's one thing which I thought we could do. And second, from an Indian context perspective, I think we all collectively have to really work with the industry, the government, and the academia to really catch them young, and then so that we mold in the way what our workforce, future workforce needs as well. So these are some of the things which we have to take along with us, and then really focus on how we have the destiny in our hand, and then shape it up, and less worry about, oh, there are layoffs happening, or because of AI these are happening. So those are all, I mean, headlines, good headlines, but there are no objective evidence to prove. Yes, there are some jobs which could be at risk, but I think it's a huge opportunity to redeploy, re-anchor, and reskill them.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think it will eliminate less jobs.
Yeah.
It will augment and change jobs fundamentally. There will not be the same jobs. Even the job holders will not think, I can't believe what I did 5 years ago and do a good job at my job, and what I have to do today. And it will be hopefully for the better and a more creative and a more high value capacity for that job. One of the interesting things is, which along with that comes, the ability to change UI, the user interface of software, to conversational. And conversational is much, much better than what we do on the QWERTY keyboard, right? Anybody who likes technology knows the QWERTY keyboard was high-tech when the keyboards came out, and it's only designed like this because of the speed of gravity on Earth, because the design point was you didn't want to clog up the hammers of the technical typewriter. Is anybody still writing on a mechanical typewriter today? Or anybody here in the room is a professional typist? No, right? We're all typing on electric keyboard, and we still hold back by the old design. It's a great example how we're holding back on traditions and technology. But the great news is that the knowledge apart from typing, we speak faster, and I'm speaking too fast right now, to speak slower. Where's my colleague who should be waving that I speak too fast? Because I'm getting excited there. He's not waving, right? We can speak faster than we can type. Huge boost in productivity for everybody. And then when you can speak to a new interface, you don't have to know where the things are. If you say, I want to make this field mandatory, as an example, I don't need to know where the checkbox is buried in the menu somewhere. So much, much easier way how to use software in general, which will benefit all kinds of user populations, especially the long tail of applications, which will never had a chance. The people in enterprise of 10,000, there are 4 or 5 people who need a certain piece of automation. They never had a realistic chance to get that automated. They now have that chance. Yeah. But what's your thought on low code, no code, and AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to, we are 7 minutes over, so just wanted to wrap up saying that, yes, the future looks good. At the same time, we all have a responsibility to ensure that we are breaking the bias from the models and the noise from the data, etc., so that we maintain the integrity. And number 2, also ensure the breach of security is not happening. Nothing is 100% secure, but as long as we have enough controls, that would be good. And also, how do we carefully manage the misinformation or hallucination, etc., and then data privacy. I think if all these 4 put together, if we responsibly develop our apps or tools or models or the compute infra, I think we have a lot more pathway along with us, and the going is only going to get better. Right?
So we're both optimistic.
Yes, more optimistic. Okay. So with your permission, Holger, should we
open up with this optimism, we open it up for questions, hoping that you'll have some good optimistic questions. And by the way, if you don't agree with what we said, please do so.
Yeah. Tough question for Holger, easy questions for me.
For Sivakumar. Yeah. We can get our headsets so we can hear them. Any questions? Looks like we answered everything. They'd like us to talk a little more, I guess. Oh, here comes a question. Good. Oh, one second. We're struggling with the technology here. Yeah. No, we don't hear you. Too silent.
2, which I think there's one in April.
No, we still don't hear you.
Don't worry, you asked a question. We'll listen through this and answer through this.
Welcome to you. And I repeat your question.
So my question is a little bit from when you talk about skills. We have children around here.
Questions about skills, and we have children around here, yes?
Yeah.
So now the children are more,
More
friendly
skilled
to
than
the-
us, yeah?
More skilled than
That's
us.
a great point, yeah?
How do we, as parents, look at this from an industry point of view? It's always good
Sure.
that we want, but when we wear a different cap,
Yeah.
right,
Great-
do we
great
really
question.
Expose that level of AI and let that childhood be spoiled, or how?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There's
I
two
feel it in a
aspects.
different way, but yeah.
Sure, good.
Two aspects. No, I mean, one of them is very interesting. The women will go back, right?
Yeah.
Can they hear us here? So one aspect is great because the novelty of a technology means that people who just start using it might be experts. It's no longer your 20-year-old technology architect professional, but it might be the student who didn't finish study, who's been spent the whole last year consuming I don't know how many sustainability credits, but figuring out how a prompt really works in engineering that. So it needs to a rethinking that seniority does not mean that you know technology better, but it's valuable for all technology coming out. The other part of the question is like, do we want to expose our kids to that? I think it will be a new way of learning and doing things for kids, right? Ultimately, if you think about if you can generate content, it will be much more human for kids to have based on different learn styles, not the same classroom, whiteboard, whatever experience, but have something tailored to them, which you can do in the same thing. So I think education, learning in general, also professional learning, has a huge upside with generative AI. But
Yeah.
what's your view,
Yeah,
Sivakumar?
I mean, it's always good to prepare them to embrace this. But I agree with you. My daughter is taking her 12th board the day after, and she says, why should I do the exam? ChatGPT gives me. But the way we'll have to sort of do it is, even using ChatGPT, instead of outsourcing the task, hey, this is the question, give me the answer. If you can train them to think, hey, what are all the constituents of a good answer? Right? So the same tool and technology can be used in different way. That will give a much better result. So that's why from doing, if we can start thinking, our cognitive ability, higher probability that it won't get impacted. So that's our humble view.
Great point. Other questions?
Yes,
Ladies
please.
and gentlemen. Yeah. Oh, will it work this time? Let's see.
My question is, since it is more on the skills,
I can hear him.
Oh,
Can you-
okay.
since it's more on the skills and the people,
Yeah.
where the technology is running with a pace is very, fast pace at this moment. And to adopt the human to that particular skills, because human will take his own time to adopt that skill. So how we need to balance those kind of things?
Yeah. Yeah, so there is no magic wand to it, right? So just 3 months ago, we were all talking of the term, okay, AI, ML, then automatically /DL will come, right? Now, if you see, nobody is talking about DL. It's Gen AI, Chat GPT, GPT-3, 4, 5, Gemini, Bard became everything, right? So I think that constant change is going to happen, but it's up to us. I mean, a simple thing what we can do is, before we start, we kind of stop. The S to stop, T to think, O to organize, and P to progress. The speed at which what happens is something has to be done, we learn, take a crash course, and then start doing it. So hence we become the doers. But what we need is, there are some examples within India, some of the deep tech startups. We are in a pole position today to be the thinkers and bring out the best platforms and the products to the market. So with due respect to Holger, who is from San Diego and Silicon Valley, this is the time for us to say, instead of saying we are the Silicon Valley of the East, we can make them say we are the India of the West. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of situation we are in, and it's collectively in our hands to really shape that up.
And that's a very good point, right? So it's not only like inside of families, the questions before, the kids know more than the parents, or the locations know more, the younger people know more than the more experienced ones. It's also across locations. But I think we have so much capacity left as human beings, and we have so much more things to do creatively, and from a controlling perspective, from a supervising, from a monitoring perspective, that our life will only be better. Right then, maybe in 10, 15 years, some of the bad Hollywood movies will come through, right? But till then, we'll have a good time, I hope.
Thank
more
you.
questions?
Yeah, we have one
time
more
for
minute.
one question,
I
one
think.
quick question?
No, we don't have
No, we
time
don't
for
have
more
time.
questions.
Sure. We have
I'm
1
going to
minute
invite
there,
you
but
back on
They
stage.
will know.
I'm the timekeeper, unfortunately.
Sure. Thank you.
For more content on tech and leadership,
Subscribe to NASSCOM YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.